Hello, everyone. This is criminal profiler Pat Brown, and I'm here today not overly happily, but because I keep getting message after message after message in going, but Pat, haven't you seen the new show on Shaun Attwoods' channel about how Julia's DNA came back and she's matching the McCanns? Don't you want to admit you're wrong? No, actually, I'm not going to admit I'm wrong. I'm going to say once again, stop being scammed. It drives me nuts because I'm just amazed at how many people fall for this stuff. Maybe they want to fall for this stuff. It makes a better story. It makes more drama. But when you look at scammers, I would say this one's one and this one's one. I don't even know who the heck this Ron guy is. But scammers of a feather flock together. They don't care about the truth. They care about what telling lies will get them. Now, let me get into this. All right. I'm going to go through some of the issues with this whole new revelation and point out some truths along the way. Now, this is the new video. It's DNA results revealed. Of course, you notice the big writing, and this is a popular topic. So what Shaun Attwood knows is this is going to get him views, and this is going to make him money. And you'll see it's part 7. Oh my God, part 7. And I think he's done like 70 shows on the Madeleine McCann case, and he's no expert on the Madeleine McCann case. So it's not like he's telling us anything useful. He's just bringing on a bunch of people to make him money because he knows the hashtag McCann brings in a lot of people. And I always say when you're looking at scammers, grifters, look at how many shows they do on one case. And if they're not an expert or professional, has something actual to offer on this, they're just milking it. So that's one of the things you can know. Now, let's go a little further. Okay, this is one of the comments. I wonder what Pat Brown thinks now. She's been slagging you guys of a few weeks back, and I commented on it that I thought she was more professional than that. That's one of these insults that tries to pretend that they liked you at one point, but now they don't. I always believed in you, Pat. You're the greatest, but now you're a fraud. That's one of those. And the person underneath said, she says it as it is always. No sugarcoating. And you're not going to get sugarcoating today either. All right. So let's go further. Okay. Who does Shaun Attwood have on his show? He has on Armchair Detective. Oh my God. He did this was a year ago. But you'll notice that Shaun Attwood has 880,000 subscribers as of a year ago. He got 34,000 views on this. It's not a great amount, but it does make money. And if he sits in his chair and has people sit in their chairs and talk crap for a couple hours, he's going to make some decent money. So he has Armchair Detective on, who is no longer, by the way, on YouTube because they booted him, because that guy is the big, huge grifter and always has been. So we have two grifters on together. Well, let me just say this about Shaun Attwood, because there's people like, oh, I like Shaun Attwood. Okay. The guy was a major drug dealer in my country, in the U.S., over $4 million worth of drugs that he was bringing in internationally, working with the Mexican mafia, ecstasy and other stuff. And he finally got caught and got 10 years. And after the 10 years, he got deported and is told he can never come back. Sorry, UK, you get stuck with this guy. And of course, what he did, hold on a second, I'm getting toasty now because I get enraged about certain things and raises that blood pressure. Okay, so it's so non-professional to get enraged, I know. But I just don't like scammers. Now, this guy was a major drug dealer. He brought in drugs to harm your children. Many, many children were harmed by this creep. Massive amount of children harmed by this creep. And now he's reformed. Now he wants to help children all over the world. And he's big into conspiracy theories about pedophilia and stuff like that because that makes money. But he wants to pretend it's because he's a good guy. I'm sorry. I don't think you're a good guy. I don't think you weren't a good guy. And once you cross the line to become a major drug dealer, an international drug dealer, I'm going to say You might have a personality disorder of the nth degree, and I'm not going to say the P word today. Really working hard against that because I cannot diagnose this man. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. I think he's just done what a lot of criminals have done. Once he's gotten caught, he changes his game. The new game is, first of all, he started a channel, what it's like to be in prison channel, and people love that stuff. So he made a name for himself and got a lot of people fascinated. And now he's moved on to true crime. And he's making money off of it. So he's got a new game, but he's still the unethical, shallow, doesn't care about the truth kind of person he always was. Now, that's him. And then this guy he's got on a show that a lot of people can't stand him. Even people who like him can't stand this guy. I don't know why he keeps having him on a show. But anyway, he's on the show. And so this is what he actually looks like. I guess on the left there, good old Ron. And then at one point, Shaun congratulated him. Well done, Ron Swanson, on 100,000 subs. Oh, that's so great. And then you see this. I went to the channel. The channel was removed because it violated our community guidelines. Oh, really? No. So that's Armchair Detective who is on with his channel. And then this guy, I guess, lost his channel. And he still shows up on his show, but he doesn't have ethics, so why not? So anyway, these are some of the people he has on. Now, there's going to be somebody here who's going to say, but he had Peter Hyatt on his channel. Peter Hyatt, the statement analyst, who I highly respect and been a friend of for many, many years. And I say friend via, we got to know each other early on in the Madeleine McCann case and then shared a lot of views on other cases. Not that I lived near him and hung out and had beer with him, although I would have if I had, because I really like Peter Hyatt. Peter Hyatt's a lovely man and an honest man and an ethical man. So what the hell is he doing on his channel? Well, I'm going to tell you this so you can get this out of the way. I'm pretty sure what happens is many times is a person like Peter Hyatt will get a message. It'll say, hey, can you be on my channel at 3:00 today? I want you to talk about the Madeleine McCann case. You're the one to go to on statement analysis. I know you think the McCanns are involved. And so I'd like to have your opinion. And then you check the guy out. And you check the guy out. You click on his channel. You say, this guy's got near 1 million viewers. It's a good channel to be on. I have a lot of requests sometimes. And some of them have been like, I really love your channel. I want you to come on my channel. And all you've got is 1,000 subscribers. So obviously, I'm not going to get anything out of being on your channel outside of being nice to you, but you're going to get more out by having me on there because then my people go to your channel. And that's why people do that. But, somebody's got near 1 million. It does benefit you to show up on their channel because you get seen by more people because he's got more viewers. He's got more viewers than I do. So Peter Hyatt shows up on my channel. He gets so many thousands of views. I get so many thousands of views. Maybe I might get, because it's Peter Hyatt, maybe 20,000 views. You can get way more because he's got a huge, huge subscriber, way more subscribers than me, like by almost 20 times. So anyway, so Peter Hyatt looks at that and he thinks, I can speak out. I don't know that Peter Hyatt did his homework and knows who Shaun Attwood is. I think if he really knew what kind of guy he was, he probably would have skipped the show. But he probably didn't because he was just, not thinking that way at the moment. It's like, sure, I'd be happy to come on here. You obviously have this, platform. I think that's all there is to it. I myself will never go on this guy's show because I think he's a scammer and I don't want to be associated with him. But I don't think Peter Hyatt probably paid attention to who he was going on the show with at the time. I just think it's one of those things where he probably just did it because somebody asked him and he did it. And he thought, oh, it's a good chance to speak about this. So, and sometimes you don't check everything out. I mean, you're busy and you just go, okay, fine. And you show up and you talk for whatever, an hour or so, and you reach a lot of people. So don't blame Peter Hyatt on that one. But just because this grifter gets a good person on his show doesn't mean he's not a grifter. And as a matter of fact, one thing that's important with grifters is a lot of times they will do 80% decent stuff because the 80% decent stuff gives them credibility. The other 20%, then they're, he's mostly a good guy, so all this 20% we will ignore. And that's how they make their money. So you can't trust somebody just because sometimes they come across as doing a good show or telling a truth at one point. Once you go into scamming like this, you're not ethical. And so I just want to point that out to start with. All right. So now, why does he do these shows? He's done 7 with her. And of course, he's got Bombshell. All right. This DNA update, 264,000 views. That makes a lot of money. 264,000, 95,000 views. This only has 30,000, but this has just been up for a few, like a day. So that's not a lot. This one only got 20,000. I guess that one just didn't go over well. But hey, he still got 20,000. He's done 7 of these. I'm sure he's going to do more. Let's see what he says about the beginning of the show. Journey with Julia over the last 6 episodes, whereby Julia has come on every week and just blown us away. I'm pretty sure that much does it. With new evidence, new research that she's done. She is more than qualified to be a private investigator after all of this. I am thoroughly convinced she was on just last week with a new phone call to the Portuguese police, and I'm sure many of you have seen parts 1 to 6. And if you haven't, there are links in the description box. So go waste your time with more lies and nonsense. So he's been around her enough to know exactly what she's about. And he doesn't care that she's a fraud. She's always been a fraud. From day one, she's been a fraud. Let's look at some. I'm going to point out some comments on this that were underneath this video, and then point out things about that. Now, what is this? These thumbnails are really small on the side. It's hard to see what I'm talking about. Oh, here. Okay. Shaun Attwood has a Julia fundraiser. So now she's taking in money, and he's encouraging people to give money to this grifter. He's getting money himself. So the grifters, I say, hang together. They don't mind making money, helping each other make a whole lot of money. So he's going to do that. He's going to get money for her. Now, let's see. All right, here's some of the kind of comments I see. This is a cover-up, and Julia is Maddie. And I am certain, no matter what, my reason is simple, process of elimination. Occam's razor, which you don't understand a thing about Occam's razor, and you can't spell it either. And too much has been done to stop Julia getting her truth. Nothing's been done to stop her. She doesn't have any truth to tell. She only has lies to tell. Let's see. Julia, a.k.a. Maddie. You are a huge inspiration. Be proud. Big hugs from Yorkshire. Get out of here. She is not Maddie. She's never been Maddie. And the fact that you think she's Maddie tells me something about you, which is, can you send me $200,000, please? I'll go down there. I have a PayPal link, profiler, patbrown@gmail.com. Please do send your money along. And I will help you prove that she is Maddie McCann. But this person's smart. This is a scam and you're all in on it. The reason I picked that one was because it says you're all in on it. And that's the problem. A person like this doesn't get as far as she gets unless other people help her. Do you remember Thea Johansson? She was the fake psychic. And if you go to YouTube search engine, put in profiler Pat Brown and put in Julia, put in Thea, and you'll see what I said about Thea, because she is a real scam artist. And so she got a scam artist. 2 scam artists got together to make money and to get publicity. And now Thea's disappeared, and now she's got the new scam artist. Okay, so yeah. All right, let's go on. Her family also said at the time that it was obvious to them that they were related to her, and said their daughter had taken evidence, including photographs and a birth certificate, with her when she moved out of the house. So her family says she is our daughter. And some people wonder, why is the family not cooperating? Why don't they give their DNA to prove that she's their daughter? First of all, they're probably sick of this daughter, because this daughter has a personality disorder. And again, I won't go into which one it is. Starts with a P, probably. But she's a scammer. She's always seeking attention. Maybe a little bit of Munchausen's there, where she's thinks, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. And the family is done. The family is frustrated. They raise this child, and she's turned out to be this person who is now, what she's done is, and I believe the family, she took any evidence at home that she was part of their family, just took it away with her, and then claims her family isn't her family. And, after you've dealt with a person like this, as long as they have, they're not disowning her, but they probably are like, we're not playing into her games. And she makes requests. We're not going to comply with them because we don't feel a need to bolster anything. And besides which, if we give our DNA, is it under her control, or is it under somebody else's control? And I'm going to get to the DNA results of this nonsense now. But unless it goes through the proper agency and is then the results are disseminated from that proper agency, you can't believe necessarily what she says, what she claims, what this guy claims. You can't. All right, so let's look at something else here. Julia has her birth certificate, but believes this could be a forgery. Of course she does. Or that's what she's telling you. Her birthday on the certificate is 2001. So August 20th, 2001. Madeleine was born in 2003. Yes, there's a 2-year difference. She's 2 years older than Madeleine McCann. So she is not Madeleine McCann. First of all, she looks exactly like her mother. She's not Madeleine McCann. Madeleine McCann also is, by the way, dead, because that's what all the evidence points to, and that's what the sniffer dogs point to. She died in the apartment. She's dead. So unless she rose from the dead, oh my God, it is a miracle. She's not Madeleine McCann. So there's a 2-year difference. Now, so some of the claim is that Madeleine was kidnapped and taken to Poland at the age of 4, because she was just turning 4. So now she's in Poland, she's 4 years old. And then she's going to go to school, you see, and she doesn't know any Polish. She only speaks English. And she still remembers her family. So somewhere between the time she's kidnapped and hidden, I guess, and the time she's in any kindergarten, which will be a year later, or in her first grade, whatever, she's going to get rid of her English accent completely and forget who her parents are, so that she doesn't let the cat out of the bag while she's at the school. And by the way, if it's only a year or 2 difference, but when other people see her, and Madeleine's face is everywhere all over the internet, don't you think they're going to look at that kid in the class and say, my God, you look just like Madeleine McCann? Wouldn't she have been reported by the teachers, the principal, every friend in town? So unless she was homeschooled and hidden in the basement, she would have looked just like Madeleine McCann if she was Madeleine McCann when she was 5 or 6 years old and in a school situation. It's all nonsense. It's just absolute nonsense. So now let's look at this birth certificate thing. So the birth certificate puts her at, let me look at the birth certificate again. 2001, and Madeleine's born in 2003. So now they're putting the birth certificate 2 years later. So her birth certificate would have her going to school, to first grade, almost exactly the same time Madeleine was kidnapped. So you see how that doesn't work, because now they have a fake certificate. So they're going to actually put her in school as early as they can, so people can really identify her. And you know, if they know Madeleine is 4 years old, barely 4 years old, she's 3, or going on 4, and that was the year she was born in, wouldn't you think if they're going to forge a birth certificate, they'd forge it for the same damn year? Why would they add 2 years on? So this is nonsense. It's stupid. She knows the birth certificate is real, and she's pretending it isn't. Let's see what else we have. Following the DNA test results, which confirmed she was from Poland with some Lithuanian and Romanian heritage, Ms. Wandelt deleted her account and posted an apology to the McCanns, who had declined to provide a DNA sample. 0 British roots in her genetics, 0. And at that point in time, she had run her scam, and the DNA put her right straight in Poland and said, you have no connection to the UK whatsoever. And that messed her up really badly, because somehow that information did get out, and she that point she disappeared. Only to reappear now because some time has passed and she's come up with a new game. Remember the new game for him? You know, once you've been caught and you're in prison, you can't play that game anymore. You play a new game. Same thing for her. They both have the same probable P word attached to their personality problems. Yeah, a personality disorder. Anyway, so now she's playing a new game. She's gone away. And now she said, wait a minute. She wants that attention desperately. And that's what Munchausen's is like. A person who will lie to get attention. And now she's back. She's back because she's got scammers to help her. So now, but let's take a look at this one other thing. Okay. McCanns have declined to provide a DNA sample. And people say, why? Why would they decline? Well, first of all, the McCanns don't want to get drawn into a bunch of nonsense. They already know it's nonsense, and they know that the world thinks mostly it's nonsense. And they're kind of happy when you have silly stuff out there, because it actually takes the pressure off of them. Because if it's really her, Madeleine was kidnapped, they didn't do something to her. So why should the McCanns knock it down. You know, it works well for them. And let's say Madeleine was really abducted. They know this is a scam. They don't want to get, they could not want to get involved anyway. The McCanns have no reason to play into con artist games, even if they're con artists themselves. You see how this all works? Okay, let's go on. Oh, this is kind of funny. Julia, aka Maddie, I just want to say that you have no doubt ended up with better parents than Kate and Jerry. God bless you, even though you may have gone through some horrible events before you got there. Your mom and dad love you. And I know you love them both too. Really? Because she's thrown both of them onto the dang bus, saying they're not my parents. She screwed them over and told everybody they're liars. And she has no appreciation for her parents whatsoever. So I think you got that one completely wrong. Okay, let's see what else we have. Oh, this is a smart person. Maddie died. Stop feeding the psychosis of this woman. I don't even know it's psychosis. I believe she knows exactly who she is, and that would put her into the other P category. Also, your definitely related comment is incorrect. Now, this is getting to the DNA that she has now, quote, presented. Find the comment from a DNA expert below to see that these clowns have made a very big jump to a silly conclusion. Exactly. So she got some DNA done, and she claims that now she's got the DNA readout from the PJ files, and she sent this off, you know, because she can't get the McCanns to give up. So this DNA, I'm not going to get into how accurate the DNA is in the laboratory and all this, but anyway, apparent possible mixture from the McCann family, from the trunk of the car. I'm not going to get into all that because at this point, I don't have absolute proof of anything. So anyway, you take this one thing that's on paper. She gets some DNA done, swabbing her cheeks, and then she takes these two things and sends them off to supposed experts. She said she sent them to a bunch of experts. However, if all the experts agree, and it's oh my God, this is so obvious, it's so true, well, then she could present all of those experts' results with their names. But she doesn't do that. She only presents one expert without a name. And people say, well, he can't give up his name because he'll probably be killed. Nonsense, just garbage. So I think there's one more comment here on that thing here. Oh, I want to point this out here. I like a lot of your content, Shaun. Well, yeah, because maybe he has got some good content, but this is utter garbage because he's garbage provider. Absolutely nothing that was discussed or supplied as evidence to support a theory has any amount of scientific basis. Anyone can theorize anything and they could care to make it up. But if they cannot prove that theory, then it has absolute zero scientific merit, none, zip, nada. That's absolutely true. And somebody in the chat supposedly threw out their phlebotomist credentials and the dumb Ron on the right here says, oh my God, you see? A phlebotomist takes blood, doesn't diagnose it. It's ridiculous. And here's one more comment. No, that's not the comment. So the problem is you got this one supposed expert that comes back and says, oh, there's some things that match in certain alleles and certain, whatever they're trying to say, locuses and all this stuff. They're trying to say, and it's very complicated. And I'm not a DNA specialist, and I have studied DNA during my learning about things for criminal profiling, and I have DNA books. But it's so freaking complicated. I'm not going to sit here and try to say, oh, I looked at those results and I can tell you. I can't. I don't understand enough of it, and I won't present myself as an expert in DNA to say that. But what I can say is there's no evidence. These are not actual DNA from her and DNA from the McCanns. Straight up, that goes through a proper process. Her goes through a lab process from her, goes through a lab process from Jerry or Kate or even one of their kids. It's not that. So if that's the way it is, then you get it to a proper laboratory, like a police laboratory, and they come back that there is mixture, there is enough matching that she is somehow related to the McCanns. Now, when this crap comes back that they're trying to say, let me see if I can just even roll through some of the comments on the DNA stuff here. Okay. They're talking about repeated numbers, 13 to 15, one number from a mother, a second number from a father. This is all nonsense stuff. They're just talking crap. Numbers 12 and 14 could show you have 19 in Madeleine's DNA. It's all nonsense. So the problem is you can get anybody to say something if you ask enough people. And when you get somebody to say something like, oh, you could be connected in some way. Well, first of all, you're not Maddie. 100%. Let's get that straight. She's not Maddie. Maddie is dead. Nothing is matching 100% in anything. So whatever these few areas that are matching, I don't know that they are, and I don't know what the meaning of it is. And I don't know who this expert is who won't give his name, because if you don't give your name, you are not credible. You are not credible if you don't give your name. Sorry, I have a problem with that. And I mean, I know there's some on TikTok, and I know there's some on YouTube that don't give their names. That would be like Chef Reactions on TikTok, but he's funny as hell. And Deception Detective has not given his identity. I'm not sure why. I think he should, because I think a lot of his stuff I think is pretty rational as far as doing statement analysis. I don't agree with all of it, but I think he's been a pleasant fellow, and I don't have a great disagreement. But when you are a DNA expert, we're talking about science here, and we're talking about you're going to give a report, then you damn well better put your name on that. And if you don't, I don't trust you, and I think you might be an idiot. And one report is not enough, because even with the defense and prosecution, you can get two different experts to disagree. But okay, if it goes through proper channels, I want to see enough proper experts say that absolutely something of hers matches a McCann's. But let's go with the fact that she's clearly not Maddie. So the DNA is not matching. So there's some things that might match the DNA of some genetic thing in the McCanns. Let's assume that. All right, then who is she? Who is she? Okay, so is she the twin sister of Maddie? What would that mean? They had two babies and shipped one off? Or let's see. This is one big one. Kate had her eggs someplace, and somebody took some of her eggs. Okay, yeah, all right. No, and then there's Jerry's running around the continent, impregnating ladies. We can go with that one. Of course, she couldn't be a twin then, right? So, okay, so she's not a twin. She actually is the older sister, because it's 2 years earlier, right, that she was actually born. So I guess Jerry was running around Poland at the time and hooked up with her mom. There's zero evidence of this crap. So this is crap. Stop going there. Stop. When you're going to look at a case, you're not supposed to accept everything out there. People love to say that, well, Pat, you're just so close-minded. No, I'm not close-minded. I'm looking at evidence. You don't have a damn shred of evidence that this girl is anything but what she is, a grifter. Okay? And you're going to grifter channels and then believing what grifters say. Okay, you need a life, and you need to get away from grifter channels. There are channels out there with credible people on them. If you want to listen to Peter Hyatt, I say I understand he showed up on this channel, but fine. Go to Peter Hyatt's channel and listen to what he has to say. Come to my channel, listen to what I have to say. Go to other channels where you know who the person is, that they're properly giving good analysis of anything. Don't go to complete grifter channels, and stop doing that. And also understand the issue of conspiracy stuff, because my God, you get a lot of that on these channels, because conspiracy sucks people in. Let me read you something from, where is it? I want to read you, oh, wait a minute, I'm in the wrong place here. Hold on a second. I want to read you something from, just to understand this, let's go to this, not Armchair Detective. No, we don't care about anything he says. Let's go to John. Okay, this is John Wedger. He was he's a retired police officer, so a detective, and he's got some decent stuff. And he talks about Madeleine McCann case, and he says he believes that she died in the apartment. She is dead, so he knows Julia is not it. And he talks about that there was a cover-up, and that's okay. He goes with the 1 day earlier theory, which he cannot support, which is nonsense to me. And what he says is that, and this is where he goes, he is also, John, a big conspiracy theorist. And although he's really good he used to work with like child abuse detection, and so did my daughter, by the way. My daughter is also in child abuse as a police detective, along with homicide and other things she's done, sex crimes. But she's also done that, and she's very, very good at interviewing children. And I have to respect what John said about interviewing children. It was excellent. But Now that he's retired, he's going off onto this everybody's a pedophile thing, and it's all widespread, and he's gone conspiracy theorist, and that concerns me. What he said was this. He says, ridiculous, the simplest explanation is usually the correct one. Keep it simple. Okay, he wants to keep it simple. No, I keep it simple. Gonzalo Amaral kept it simple. She was reported, Madeleine was reported missing on May 3rd. All the evidence shows that she disappeared that night, and there was a frantic attempt to cover up. I will say over and over and over, the Smith sighting is the one that is the key, because that is the sighting the McCanns ignored. If Madeleine had died the day before, yeah, the Smith sighting would be pointless. But if the Smith sighting was seen on a day that Madeleine was already disappeared, why wouldn't the McCanns use that sighting? My God, Jerry has an alibi. Why not say Smith man is the guy who did it? But they don't, because they need on that night for Jane Tanner's sighting to be Jerry's alibi. And they never looked at Smith man. They ignored him. They didn't care if that was the abductor taking their child. Why is that? Because they didn't want people. They wanted Jerry's alibi to stand, because something tells me, and I can't prove it because all the information is really crappy about that. I don't think Jerry was in the tapas at the time Smith man was rolling by with a kid in his arms, because I do believe that was Jerry, because of the McCanns trying to play that incident down. To this day, they refuse to pay any attention to Smith man. They're still saying Tannerman is probably the one, even though even Scotland Yard came out and said Tannerman wasn't it. So the day before, no, they didn't do that. Watch my videos, watch my audiobook. She did not disappear the day before and then have a huge, massive cover up, including a nanny they hardly know, to lie for them that she was with the child all day long. And now so John comes along and he says this. John says he thinks the Freuds were involved. Oh my God. So there's your conspiracy theory that the Freuds somehow helped get rid of her body, chopping it up and putting it in the ocean. So they got help from the Freuds. Now, and if you listen to Burnt's stuff, supposedly they got help from every one of their friends, because every friend had to play act this whole evening at the tapas, with knowing that Madeleine was already dead. They all had to play act all evening long. They had to get the nanny, who they hardly knew, a young woman they hardly knew, to lie for them and lie to the police. Lie for them and lie to the police, pretending, well, she has no reason to do that she had seen Madeleine the whole day. And then they got two people at the church to help bless the body. And then now the Freuds are involved. Half the town's freaking involved. Things don't work that way. You do the simplest thing. The simplest thing happened on May 3rd when Jerry said, oh my God, took that child and ran down to hide her. And then try to get his friends to sort of cover for him. But certainly none of these other people. But hey, we got John here saying, oh, the simplest thing. The simplest thing. Really? They brought in all these people. That's simple? Bringing in all the people is not simple. Bring in all these people because they're all part of their dirty little pervy club. Because now he's claiming they're all into swinging. Some of them are into pedophilia. So he's gone down the huge pedophile, just absolutely outrageous stuff. Like Jerry and Kate are going to parties and she's sedating her kids at the parties. And then some of the party members, instead of screwing each other out, they're screwing the kids. Really, come on now. So they're all part of the dirty little pervy club, and they just called in favors. They've all got dirt on each other, probably footage of each other doing all sorts of weird things. So now he's claiming his videos, and they're getting paid off of the money they have. That's what John on the right says, John Wedger. So consequently, although I like a lot of the stuff he does say, because he does have some knowledge, he's gone off the deep end on the conspiracy thing. And so he's lost all credibility with me. So that's the problem. We've got all these people who love the rabbit hole, because the rabbit hole and the conspiracy theories are more exciting and bring in more money and more attention than does telling the straight up truth. So Detective Amaral, if you're gonna pay attention to anybody in this world, pay attention to Detective Amaral. Oh, by the way, one other thing, I got to point this out. John Wedger says in one of his interviews he's never even read Kate's book. Seriously, you're a detective and you claim you never read Kate McCann's book. You're going to make theories and not even bother to read her book. I have problems with you if you say that. I had problems with Burnt for the same reason. He claimed things he didn't bother to read. Get out of here. I read the PJ Files. I read Amaral's book. I read Kate's book. I read Burns' book. I will read what's out there. If it's, I will read books. I will do the investigation. You tell me you didn't bother with 80% of the information out there. You're either using it and lying that you didn't get your ideas from there. In other words, you're just basically plagiarizing and you don't want to admit it. This new crime night, by the way, stop paying attention to that guy too. What a conspiracy theorist. And he's plagiarized off of everybody's stuff. And now everybody's like, oh my God, crime night's so wonderful. No, he's not. You're following, again, a grifter, another grifter. Detective Amaral. There is a man you can follow. I mean, he doesn't have a YouTube channel. Read his books. Read his books. You don't have to even read mine. Read his books. If you go to the source, the guy who was on the case, he has top billing, Detective Amaral. And if you haven't read his books and you waste your time with this garbage, it's a shame. And now, okay, so now maybe you want to read my books. Fine. At least I'm a criminal profiler. I was going to write a book with Detective Amaral, and it got shot down by the American publishers who would not publish. And I stick with the truth. I stick with the facts. So that's it. My book is here, and I'll link my audiobook here. I stay with the facts. I don't go off into all these tangents and try to pull you in and make more money because I'm like, now I'm involving half of England, I'm not doing that. It's not as exciting, but it is there. I'm basing things on evidence. So I will put myself in, okay, if I'm going to pick two books, I pick Amaral's and I pick my own. And if you want to read other people's book, fine, but pay attention. Are they going with the evidence or are they exaggerating? Are they highly exaggerating? And I want to point out something Deception Detective did say, which I liked, which is sometimes when people get obsessed with a case, they get too many moving parts in it because they're so obsessed that they go on and on and on, and they expand everything, adding more and more things. And I think that's what Bernd Stellander did. He was obsessed with the case. And so he went to May 2nd and then involved everybody. And then he started putting up cameras on a hill, thinking that's where the McCanns were going. And he started emailing them, stalking them. I mean, the guy went over the edge on that. And I don't believe Madeleine's on the hill. I don't believe he's going to have a videotape of the McCanns laying a wreath on a certain piece of ground where you dig it up and there's Madeleine. Hey, if it happens, I'm wrong, but I don't believe it. I think he's gone down that path of obsession. And I think Deception Detective is correct about that. And that's what happens with a lot of people watching these channels. They go down the deception path. The obsession path. People don't get obsessed with my stuff because I don't make them obsessed. I'm not adding in gossip and oh my God, did you hear about this? Did you hear about that? Maybe this is true. No, I'm not doing that. I don't go there where I do not have evidence. So I stick with what is accurate and what is known. And I base my analysis on that. So therefore, I don't open up those conspiracy theories. And people then get bored and move on to people who will give conspiracy theories because they are obsessed too. If you are obsessed with the Madeleine McCann case, I want to say this. Maybe you ought to rethink this. You do not know Madeleine McCann. She's a child. It's not a child from your community unless you're literally living in near the McCanns. And a lot of people all across the world are obsessed with Madeleine McCann. Madeleine McCann died 17 years ago. She's dead. There hasn't been justice. That's true. It's an interesting case. I have no objection to you understanding the case, which is why I wrote the book. Understand the case and find that interesting. Be concerned about the lack of why Scotland Yard came in and is spending a ton of UK citizens' money. That's the big issue. But the case is probably never going to be solved in the sense that I don't think anybody's ever going to go to court to be charged with a case and go to prison or anything. I think the case is dead in the water. And but if you're obsessed with this 24 hours a day and you're watching every single channel that has any new piece of information like this garbage on Madeleine McCann, you need to maybe reevaluate why you're so obsessed with this stuff. Get a life. Get a life. Do other things in your life. Maybe pay attention to the children who are the crime in your community, because that really does affect you. I have crime in my community. We have the MS-13 in our community. We have carjackings increasing in our community. We have trucks that smash into our stores and steal ATMs in our community. We have people shot at the metro in my community. And I live in a pretty nice community, but we're having an increase in crime problems. I'm worried about the children of this community, my community. I'm worried about my granddaughter growing up in my community and my granddaughter's friends and my friends' granddaughters. Madeleine McCann happened 17 years ago in another country. It has nothing to do with you and your community. So it's a reasonable amount of interest, I understand, because I am a true crime analyst and provider on YouTube. So I'm not saying I'm against everybody learning something about crime, and I do an educational channel. I'm trying to teach you as opposed to just, just suck you in with creepy stories and horror stories. And, oh my God, this is what happened. Oh, isn't it horrible? Which is just basically, it's kind of like you're not learning anything. You're just being horrified, and you find it fun to be horrified. And some people do. I mean, I'm not going to stop people from having true crime channels who storytell. But if you're obsessed with this, maybe you should think about, are you learning anything? Or are you just going down rabbit holes and for no reason whatsoever on things that have no importance in your life? So that's my little final speech on that. Just because I get annoyed with that so much. But this is nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. And so this is what he's doing with his channel. He's a grifter, and she's a grifter, and I'm pretty sure he's a grifter. So a bunch of grifters, 3 grifters go into a bar and they rob everybody in it because they got everybody to buy them drinks. And then they walk out and people go, what happened? That's what this is. She will disappear into the mist at some point because she's not Madeleine McCann or anybody related to the McCanns. She will disappear. But meanwhile, they'll make their money and she'll get whatever attention and money she gets out of it because you're all suckers. Sorry, that's what you are. Stop being suckers. I want people to not be suckers. Okay, I understand why people become suckers. They get fascinated. Some people have such good hearts that they want to believe people are telling the truth. Stop believing that. People don't always tell the truth. Look at the person's character and the ethics of who they are. This is not a truth teller. This is a drug running criminal. I don't care if he's reformed. Go for somebody. Peter Hyatt is an ethical man. I am an ethical woman. We're both professionals in our field. We are more likely to tell you the truth than a scam channel like this, or the other scam channels. Stop doing that. Stop paying attention. Now, when you get to people like John Wedger, it gets a little more confusing because he actually has a lot of good information, but he is caught up in the whole conspiracy theory crap and the whole everybody's a pedophile crap. And he goes off the deep end. I don't know why he has to do that, but he does. So that's unfortunate because he could be he could have been really useful. If he wasn't doing conspiracy crap and had his own channel and would just analyze crimes properly, I would think he'd be a good asset. But unfortunately, once you see somebody going into excessive conspiracy nonsense, run away. Run away. I mean, there are conspiracies in the world. I'm not saying there aren't. And I'm not saying there are not pedophiles in the world. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying there aren't swingers. I'm just saying when you don't have evidence of something for sure, don't go with somebody who throws out a whole bunch of, oh, maybe this, maybe that, maybe this, maybe that. No, they're not paying attention to evidence. What they're trying to do is sucker you in. And they shouldn't be doing that if they're going to be a legitimate professional. So John Wedger, it's unfortunate, I think, because I think he does have talent and skill. I just think I don't know why he's gone down. I've seen the stuff he's done on other cases, and I've seen he does it on many cases. Richard Hall, by the way, Richard D. Hall, people keep saying, oh my God, Richard D. Hall is so great too. No, he isn't. His first video was good, and Peter had to participate in that one, I think. That was excellent. And then he went down. Richard D. Hall is a conspiracy theorist. Look at his other videos. He's a conspiracy theorist. So now he has the next 3 videos on Madeleine McCann, well produced. He's got a great voice. But he's a conspiracy theorist, and all that stuff is nonsense. But he's good at doing it. He's good at weaving stuff so that you fall for it. Stop falling for it and just stay with the basics. And I guess it's not as exciting, and you won't have as many videos to watch and get enthralled with. But maybe you'll take those hours and hours and hours you're spending going down a ridiculous rabbit hole and spend that time with your family and friends. Maybe that would be better. Give something to your community. Okay, so those are my thoughts on this today. Yeah, not something to be believed. So, garbage. Just remember that this is garbage. And if she wants to prove something, if you want to prove me wrong, let her go through the proper channels, and the proper channels prove me wrong. I will guarantee it's not going to happen. But if she does want to go through the proper channels and have it proven that she is a McCann of some sort, so be it. Even though not one of her genetics has anything to do with the UK. That girl's Polish. And that's all there is to it. Thank you very much for being here. Do remember to like the channel. Maybe subscribe to the channel. Check my playlist for things other than Madeleine McCann, but also check my playlist for the reality of Madeleine McCann. Thank you very much.